Mani, are you here in the meeting? So I feel students are desperately waiting for the class. So it's better we will start with the class and then the lab overview, uh, the web portal, all those things we will discuss at the end of the class. Okay. Mani, are you there?
Yes, Sagar. Good
Yeah,
evening.
hi Mani. Yeah. So I was
Hi.
just telling, yeah, so I was just talking about starting of the class. So you better you can start with your agenda, okay?
Right,
And
right.
at the end you just Mani, are you there? Okay. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so you can start sharing your screen, Mani.
Sure. Just give me. Guys. So, hi guys. How are you all?
Fine, thanks.
Fine. And what about your New Year?
With COVID, I don't know how you can say New Year. We're still in lockdown and everything.
Okay. Right. Right. That's right. But still, uh, have you enjoyed your time with your family?
Correct. Yes.
Definitely. Okay. Right. So, guys, I'll be your trainer for this firewall training. Right. And so today, this is the day one of your Palo-Alto firewall, right? So I can see we do have some new members over here. So can we start with some little bit introduction? Hi guys, can anyone
Yeah, I'll start off.
start?
My name is Dhan.
Yes.
I worked for the aviation. Due to
Yeah.
the lockdown, there are
Mhm.
no international flights, so at the moment I am redundant.
Okay.
My background is audio and visual, Cisco platform. So now I've decided that I need to learn the security aspects, hence why I've joined this class.
Right. Right. Guys, anyone else would like to start with your introduction?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rajiv. I'm
Hmm.
majorly into the pre-sales. I'm working in Scient,
Right.
looking to enhance my skills beyond cloud and the Cisco routing and switching, and attending
Uh,
the security classes. Thanks.
right. Okay. Okay. So, guys, as I told you, today we have day one. Okay. So, we will be starting this session. Just- Okay. Now, I hope you can see my screen. My screen,
Yeah, we can see the screen.
right. Great. So, in last three demo classes, we have discussed some features about Palo Alto and some features about next generation firewall, right? And we also discussed about what is wildfire feature and how does it work and all, right? So, as you already know that today is the day one of Palo Alto. So, before starting this course, let me ask you some questions. Right? So, what is your expectation from this course? Means what you are expecting. Means what output do you want from my end?
For me, it's more of understanding the uh, Palo-Alto configuration
Right.
and hopefully able to sit the exam. and able to do the labs as well as understand the complete technology, so that
Right.
if there are any issues, one can solve the issues by doing the labs within your organization, basically.
Okay. Right. So, guys, anyone else would like to add some point? Means
For me,
what?
it would be being confident in configuring Palo Alto other and all other firewalls, because my experience is just Meraki firewalls and the ASA firewall. So I would like to be confident setting up VPNs, setting up designing, because my job is to design and implement solutions. I'm a infrastructure engineer from last
Right.
8 years. So
Okay. Right. All right. So again, as I can understand, most of the people wants some kind of output from my end, right?
yes.
Output in the sense, suppose,
Yeah, hi, this is Sandeep here.
yes,
So
Sandeep.
basically, the intention of joining this class is to gain more and more information what the next generation firewall has to offer.
Mm-hmm. Right. What else?
Yeah,
Means
and
my
further,
question. Yeah.
complete the certification in Palo Alto and
Mm-hmm.
support and manage and maintain the network infra, network security infra.
Right. Right. But
Yes, I
yeah.
have a request. This Michael Allen for USA. I just have a
Mm-hmm.
request to dealing with
Yes.
the licenses for specific mechanisms and technologies or functionalities in the firewalls. I know
Yeah.
that the last time I spoke,
Mm-hmm.
the last time I was
Mm-hmm.
in one of these
Mm-hmm.
courses dealing with firewalls or Palo Alto, I know that there are certain licenses that prevent you from doing certain functions that may need to be accomplished in a business or in the infrastructure. So I would like to make sure that uh, there are certain licenses that I can make sure that I need to have to fulfill the whole syllabus and everything else that I may need as a Palo Alto engineer.
Right. So, guys, first of all, let me tell you. So here we are not going to cover the part of PCNSE, which is expert level of this course, right? Palo Alto Certified Network Expert, right? That is your expert level of certification. For expert level, you required your fire license firewall, right? But for if I talk about lower level certifications like associate level and professional level, for this you don't need any kind of license, right? And if I talk about the license part, we are still working on it, right? As soon as we get the license, we will install that license to our Palo Alto labs, right? So I'll assure you that in further classes, or maybe after 2-3 months, or before ending of this course, we will try to get the license, right? And we will install it, right? As we already created one topology with multiple firewalls, right? And if you are joining the complete all 5 firewall batch, right, then you will get one topology with all types of firewalls like Fortigate, right? In one topology we have added all firewalls: Fortigate, ASA, Checkpoint, Palo Alto. In single topology we deploy all the firewalls, right? And all the firewalls working together, right? So for that purpose, I can say in future or in further classes, I may or I may not get the license, right? But I cannot say you definitely need license to enable any particular kind of feature. For example, you don't need any license to enable URL filtering on your firewall, right? But if I talk about the VPN part, you definitely need one license. Okay, so we do have some features limitations over here, right? But you don't need to worry about it. I'll let you know the configuration part. We will go through with it, right? I'll definitely I can also support you if you are working in a live environment, right? I can help you to find out, means how they created this tunnel, right? Means how do you troubleshoot, because these are very very simple things, right? If you have basic concepts with you, right? If you know the basic concept of VPN, you would be able to troubleshoot at any firewall or at any device, because the VPN concept will remain same. It will never change. Only the device gets changed, but your VPN concept will remain same, right? Only configuration parts get changed. All
Hello.
right, guys. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I'm in an office meeting. You keep in the security gate. I'll take later. Okay.
Okay. Right, guys. So, guys, so actually, my question was, what is your expectation from your trainer?
Mani, you are not going to cover the PC and SC, you mean?
No,
Okay.
right? Because
What about
that's
Panorama?
the yes. With Panorama, we will cover the overview of Panorama, because that is also the part of PCNSE expert level, which is expert level of Palo Alto certification.
It's not the expert. PCNSA is a security engineer. Okay. You mean is a
Again,
yeah.
that's the expert level, right?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, guys. So let's start with okay. So PC, CCSA, NSA, then NSE, right? So this is your expert level, NSE, PC, NSE, right? Which is Palo Alto Network Certified Network Security Engineer, right? So this would be your last course if I talk about the Palo Alto, right? So guys, before we start today's session, right? So just wanted to go through with some more questions, I'm not getting the right point, right? It means what are you expecting from my end? Means how your trainer will perform, or what you want from your trainer. That is my question.
So I would expect at least after this class, like a basic understanding of configurations like client to site VPN, site to site VPN, and
Mm-hmm.
SSL configurations, self-signed authentication, how to do it, and Active
Mm-hmm.
Directories and logging, and basic commands for troubleshooting in the command line interface for the
Right.
Palo Alto. Yeah,
Right.
at least like not the expert level. I mean, if something there is an issue with VPN, how to
Right.
trace the packet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
packet capturing, analyze the packet. What are the commands we specifically use in Palo Alto? So this kind of
For troubleshooting purpose, you mean?
yeah.
Troubleshooting, all right, right, right.
Yes. I was actually listening to a video last night
Mm-hmm.
dealing with
Yeah.
network automation, and I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure everybody heard of David Bomba, but whenever his video starts, he gives a good analogy, which is when we were all kids, we never like read a book on how to ride a bike, or we never read a book on how to do certain just little things that even how to walk. We never learned. We never read a book, and so
Right.
what he's basically saying is it's best to have practical, hands-on experience. Just fully, just jump right in, and I know that there has to be some type of concept and teaching about certain, but more hands-on and more practical
Mm-hmm.
manipulating the firewalls and seeing what is and what not to do on the GUI firewall. So just more hands on for me.
Right. So, guys, if I talk about this course, or before starting this course, we have two things. First is input, and the other one is output. Right. So, I am going to give you input, your trainer, right? And I want output from your end. Now, what is output from your end? Output, like, let's say, let's say I gave you some kind of homework, right? And I gave you some type of task to perform in your lab, right? So on daily basis, you need to go through with every chapter, or every content, or every lab file, or whatever the lab task I'll give you on daily basis. You have to go through with that, right? So first you need to
And
complete
one more
your
thing,
homework.
Mani.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, we would expect now we started to go through on Palo-Alto.
Mm-hmm.
Like and which condition and in which situations we choose Palo-Alto firewall to mounting on it's a small branch, or any rack based client. So
Mm-hmm.
on which criteria and the basic level too, and like whenever we are talking about any content or any topic, just touch with network topics, like network content through on it. Like this is where it will be going through it. Like have you got it? Like, so
Like
whatever
means.
the topics, whatever the topics which we are go through from starting onwards, we shall correlate with the network basic contents, like scenario based, or real time based, like how it will be configuring, and we are troubleshooting the each and every topic, like like
Mm-hmm.
when we are taking Palo Alto. So particularly maybe all the clients would not choose for Palo Alto, correct? So maybe some
Right.
of them will go for Fortinet, maybe some of them will go for other firewalls. So why the client will be choose for Palo Alto, and what are the main benefits and real time scenarios? So and what are all the challenges which we are facing, and the real time exposures, troubleshooting, what are the issues we'll be facing on. So these are all like whatever the topic which we are exploring, it will be touch on all the contents, all the topics. So I would expect like this here. So
Okay.
only whatever the theory would be there in our workbook or lab or something, like we can do it also from our own ourselves. But we would expect more and more,
Right.
like what is the real time scenario, and what is the responsibility in the corporate company or any industry they would
Mm.
be doing with the Palo Alto firewalls and other firewalls also.
Right. So, guys, if I talk about the labs, right, I already showed you the lab part in my previous demo classes, right? So, if I talk about the lab scenarios, we have created a lab like a real-time environment, right? Like in real-time environment, for example, you have one firewall. This is your firewall, right? Uh, Most of the company use firewall as a gateway. This is the gateway of your LAN interface, or LAN, you can say LAN network, right? And suppose this is your LAN network where you have 10,000 users. So this is your LAN network, right? On other end, you have internet, ISV, right? So this is a kind of real-time scenario, right? If I talk about companies, as per my experience, if I talk about my experience, I do have 7+ year of experience in this industry, right? And if I talk about the network security part, I am working with the network security part from past 4 years, right? So I have seen multiple networks, right? I cannot give you the name of the company, but as per my experience, the scenario or the labs that we created or we deployed in the EVNG was very same, I can say. Okay, very similar to the real time network scenarios. Like every firewall got deployed in that kind of scenario. Let's suppose on the other hand you have one trusted zone, and the another end you have one untrusted zone. That is the only reason we use a firewall, right? Now, if I talk about multi-vendors firewall, suppose Palo Alto is one of the vendor of firewall vendor, Fortigate is one of the firewall vendor, Checkpoint is also one of the firewall vendor, and Cisco ASA, or you can say FTD, that is also one of the firewall vendor. But what make it different? Means what are the difference between all four firewalls? So there are so many criterias. If I talk about the all four firewalls, it totally depends upon your budget. Suppose you are buying FTD, that will cost you more. Palo Alto, that is also costly, but sometime it differs, right? If I talk about Fortigate, that will cost you very less. I cannot say very less, but less, right? And Checkpoint, right? So there are so many, I can say, so many things we need to see before buying a firewall. So it totally depends. The first thing is budget, I can say like that, because firewall, if I talk about firewalls, suppose Palo Alto, it has around, suppose it has 15 features, because FTD is also next generation firewall, Palo Alto is also next generation firewall, Fortigate is also next generation firewall, and Checkpoint is also next generation firewall. Right now, suppose it has 15 features, Fortigate has 5 features, right? Checkpoint has again 10 features. So it totally depends upon your requirement and type of your company. And I can say the budget is the first thing, and the second thing is requirement. Means how many users you have. Suppose suppose you will get, suppose if you buy Palo Alto firewall, you will get 10 VPN user license for free, right? But if you buy Checkpoint, you will get 15 VPN users license for free. So where you will go? Definitely you will go for Checkpoint. Why? Because the cost is less, and I'm able to connect 15 users at the same time through the VPN, right? So there are so many things. I cannot say Palo Alto is good. I cannot say Fortigate is better and Checkpoint is better than FTD. So it's not like that. All four
But
firewalls
nowadays,
comes under.
Money nowadays, Palo Alto and Fortinet firewalls are the leaders of other firewalls network, like the leaders,
Right,
which we can
but
say Palo Alto and Fortinet are the leaders of firewalls.
right, but according to the Magic Quadrant report, it keeps on fluctuating in every quarter, right? Means every 3 months, Gartner is a company, right? They decide which firewall performing very well in this quarter. Every quarter they generate one kind of report, okay? One report, and that report shows us, means which firewall performing better in the market, right? Means how actively they are updating their antiviruses, right? How they are fighting with a new technology, like suppose due to this corona situation, most of the employees started working from home. At that time, our Palo Alto, Fortigate, Checkpoint, most of the company would like to buy some extra license for VPNs, right? So again, how fast the service is, how they support their customer. There are so many criteria. After going through with all the criterias, Magic Quadrant or Magic, so the company which is Gartner, right? Gartner decides which is the best firewall, right? So there are so many kind of checks, I can say. After going through with all the checks, Gartner decides which firewall is good within this quarter, which firewall performed very well in this quarter. And if I talk about Palo Alto again, Palo Alto sometime it comes on number one, sometime it would be on second place, and sometime it would be on third place. So it keeps on fluctuating. It will not remain same, right?
On which
Hmm.
platform you are going to teach all these firewalls, like a
Uh,
GNS or EVNG?
yes, we do have one server with good RAM, right? And you all will get the access of that server once you enroll for this course, right? And at the end of this class, Sagar will let you know how to access your server and how you can perform labs and all, right? So we are using EVNG,
Okay.
EVNG, right? This is your virtual simulator, I can say. And if I talk about Palo Alto, then sorry, we are using 9.0.4 version firewall. This is your firewall version for Palo Alto.
So for like FortiGate, Checkpoint, load balancer, for everything you are using UNG, no, not GNS3.
Yes. For FortiGate, we are using 6.2.
No, the
This would
platform,
be your
sir.
version. Yes, that would be the platform.
Okay,
But
because like I saw
yours,
the images in the GNS3 when the Sagar uploaded to the LinkedIn. So
yeah.
Yes. That's what my question is. Will there be also because some students wants to use Gen S3? Will you guys be able to provide both platforms?
Right. So for Palo Alto, are you talking about the images file, QCOW2 file, or what?
no, sir. Actually, my question was because in the LinkedIn, the Saga posted that I mean, the firewalls images, configuration images in the GNS3 platform. So I was asking, like, all the
No, no,
firewalls,
no, no.
what you're teaching will be in the EVNG, right? That's what I required.
EVNG,
Yeah. Okay.
EVNG only, right?
Okay.
If
Yeah.
you want access of GNS3, definitely I'll be providing you the access, because but EVNG is better than GNS3. That's why we always suggested you to use EVNG, right? If
Okay.
you
I
want
think I
GNS3,
think
we
Mani Sagar has already put it in the chat. He'll be able to provide both Eve and
yes,
in GNS.
yes, definitely. But the
Uh,
good one is EVNG only. I would suggest you to use EVNG, right?
So, Money, which what kind of server you would recommend that if I, because previously Saga did say that you can provide us with all the labs on our servers and you will set it up. What's the minimum requirement for that server? What the RAM should be or what the server should be, and
Right,
you
guys.
keep this eye on it.
So are you talking about your own server, or are you looking to buy your own server, or what?
Yes. So if I get, because Saga did say that every, I mean, your the lab instructor will basically remote into our server, and they will set up everything. If you want our lab, if
Hmm.
like a personal lab. So okay, I think Saga has just posted 4 CPUs
Okay.
lab.
Okay. So
Yeah,
guys,
guys. Sorry to interrupt. So don't ask all this hardware kind of questions because we have all the setup. So let's keep going with the actual class. Okay. So regards to the small topology, we will give you accordingly, which will take 2 to 4 vCPUs with 8 to 16 GB of RAM. We also have a massive lab with 20 firewalls deployed, which will take more than 16 vCPUs with 64 GB, and we also have a access provision to the students for these labs. Okay, so we'll take this at the end. So let the trainer start with some theory or something which you guys need. Okay, so yeah, so that was
So
something
Sagar,
from my side.
means the .unl file for the GNS you will be sharing, right? For the five firewall setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those students who have enrolled to the modules, so depending upon that, we will provide you either UNL, GNS, or both. Okay. So we are ready to give you both or whatever you want. Massive 5-in-1 is only to those students who has purchased the complete five under one package. Okay,
Okay.
which I'll talk later. Let the trainer go with his presentation, and then I'll once walk through all the lab setup and the web portal and other things. Okay.
All right, guys. So let's start today's session with the firewall fundamentals. Right. In the day one, I'll be covering firewall fundamentals like what is firewall, what is next generation firewall, what is static packet filtering, okay, what is stateful packet filtering, right? These kind of questions. Apart from that, in today's session, we will be covering Palo Alto history, right? Means who's the CEO and who found that, or means what kind of models they have, right? And boxes they have basically, right? So let's start with the firewall, right? So what is firewall? This is the first question that we have for today. So what is firewall? We already discussed these all questions, but as we are
Sorry
starting
to
day one class, yeah.
Many, sorry to cut. Can you please close down the name list? It's covering half of the content
Okay,
on your left hand side, where all
on
the
my
names
left
are.
hand side. Just hold on a second, but I cannot see any name list.
That is done locally on your machine. You need to do that.
Right,
Don't think so.
because this is my name list, right? If I click on participants, I'll get it, and if we close it, and it would be removed.
Well, yeah, full screen is visible.
Yeah.
You
All
can
right,
minimize it.
guys. Yes, you can minimize it if you want. You can use Windows D, then click on
Yeah. So the
screen button. Yeah.
yeah. So you need to first full screen, and then there is an option to minimize the top bar. Okay. So that's done on a local machine itself. The trainer has no control on that.
All right, guys. So let's start with the firewall. What is firewall, right? So again, the firewall is a hardware device, and we do have two kind of firewalls. One is software firewall, and another one is hardware firewall, right? So a firewall is a network security device that monitors incoming and outgoing traffic and permits or block data packets based on a set of security rules. On a set of security rules, right? Means to control any particular data traffic, what we need a device which is called firewall, and we create policies, right? And we create and deploy or install, I can say install all the policy into this firewall, right? So this is your firewall. Now its purpose is to establish a barrier between your internal network and incoming traffic from external sources such as the internet, in order to block malicious traffic like viruses and hackers, right? I hope if you are joining this course, definitely you know about what is firewall. Now the next question, which is how does it work? How does a firewall work? So now, firewall carefully analyze incoming traffic based on pre-established rules, right? and traffic filter coming from unsecured and suspicious sources to prevent attacks. Now, next is firewall guard traffic at a computer's entry point called ports, which is where information is exchanged with exchange devices. For example, you have one source address which is allowed uh, to a particular destination over port number 23, 22, right? So now, again, you can see both of the similar points, right? Both are the similar points, like what is firewall and how does it work? It looks like similar, right? Now, again, if I move to next point, which is type of firewall. Now we have two type of firewall. One is software firewall. Software firewall, the best example is your Windows firewall. Suppose you are using Windows machine, right? You have one Windows Defender and Windows firewall. Every window consists one firewall, which is your software firewall. A software firewall is a program installed on each computer and regulates traffic through port number and applications, right? So basically, that's a software-based firewall. And if I talk about hardware-based firewall, you have one physical box with you, right? You have one physical box with you. So this would be your hardware firewall. I don't think so. I need to spend much time on software or hardware firewall because most of the people understand this, right? So let me move to the next point, which is packet filtering. How does a firewall perform packet filtering? Right now, for packet filtering, firewalls are divided into two categories. One is stateful and stateless. Right. One is stateful, and the second one is stateless. Now, let's move to the blank slide and let's talk about the stateful firewall. So let me give you one example for of stateful firewall. Suppose this is your firewall, right? And this firewall is connected with your outside network, internet, and this is your inside network, where you have lots of users, around 5, 10, or 15,000, 10,000, whatever the user is, right? Now, what stateful feature says? So, stateful and stateless, right? There are two features, just a minor difference between those features. Now, let me show you first. Stateless firewall examine packet independently or of one another and lack context, making them easy target for hacker. In contrast, stateful firewall remember information about previous past packet and they consider much more secure. Right? Stateful means my firewall remember the session. Means, let me give you an example. Suppose this is your firewall and this is your inside network, and you have one user which is user A, and over the internet you have one server, right? So guys, you know about three-way handshake?
Yeah, TCP/IP, three-way handshake.
TCP, yes,
Yep.
right. TCP/IP, three-way handshake. So here we use three packets. One is SYN, next is SYN plus ACK, right? Let me write it down here. So in TCP, three-way handshake, we have three packets. First one is SYN packet, second is SYN plus ACK, and the third one is ACK. Right? SYN is synchronize and ACK is acknowledgement. Right? Suppose you have user A. Right? Here I'm talking about the stateful firewall. What is a stateful firewall? So basically, the stateful firewall keeps the entry of every packet which is going from inside to outside. It keeps the entry. It means stateful firewall has one table with them, right? And in that table, they have source IP, destination IP, source port information, and destination port information, right? So my firewall remember all the information of source IP, destination IP, and source port and destination port. Suppose this is your server, and the IP address of this server is 8.8.8.8, and the IP address of this computer is 10.1.1.1, and the IP which you are getting from your ISP is 4.4.4.4. Right? This would be your IP that you are getting from your ISP. Right? Now, how does it work? How stateful function works here? Suppose you have user A, and user A would like to communicate with this server, which is 8.8.8.8. 8.8.8.8. Right? Now, how does it work? Is how my stateful firewall work in that case. Now, user A, before starting the transmission of packet, before sending the first packet, my user A will uh, create one session with that server, right? Definitely my user A is going to create one session with that server, right? And for that my PC is using TCP three-way handshake. So the first packet to create a session my PC is sending, which is SYN packet. So suppose your SYN packet has been sent to this server, right? This is your first packet. Before sending any data packet, my PC trying to create a connection with the server, right? Now, suppose this PC sent one SYN packet to the server. Now, what my firewall doing? In that case, suppose this is my stateful firewall. Stateful means it is uh, it is saving the state of a packet, right? It is creating a table of a packet. So now, once my firewall receive this packet on this interface, right? Suppose my firewall receive uh, that SYN packet on this interface. At the same moment, my firewall will create one entry. Suppose, let's say this is the source IP is 10.1 of this packet, destination IP is 8.8, source port would be random. I can say 5510, and the destination port would be 80, as this is your HTTP server. This is your HTTP server, so the port number would be 80. So there is a table, right? I can say in stateful firewall, we create a table of every packet which is going to outside network, right? Which is going towards the outside network, right? So that is the only feature. This is called, basically this is called stateful firewall feature, and this firewall feature invented by Checkpoint. Checkpoint was the company who invented this feature, which is stateful firewall feature. After that, Palo Alto introduced this feature in their own firewall, right? Because the founder of Palo Alto, if I talk about the founder of Palo Alto, he was working with Checkpoint before. Before they introduced Palo Alto into the market, the owner of the Palo Alto, he was working with Checkpoint, and he was working with this stateful firewall feature. He was the part of this team, stateful feature team, right? So that is the reason I can say this is one of the reason my Palo Alto firewall also has stateful firewall feature, right? So basically, the main task of the stateful firewall is it just create a entry of or it just create a table, right? I can say it generates a table of every packet which is going from inside to outside. Now, so my packet has been gone, suppose. Now let's move to the next step. This is your first step where you are sending packet from inside to outside. This is your first step. Now second step. In second step, my server, which is 8.8.8.8, definitely it will reply back with SYN plus ACK packet, right? So my server replying with SYN plus ACK packet. So this is your SYN plus acknowledgement packet, right? So now I hope everyone can understand on every fire. If I bought any firewall, I'll definitely block all the interfaces, all the outside interfaces of my firewall. Right? Most of the company do that, right? Because we don't want any suspicious user to enter into my own network. Suppose this is your user X. If you open this port, if you open this port out. If you open this internet connectivity port, which is the part of your outside network, anyone can access your network if you open this port. So it always remains closed. We always close or we always deny all the traffic which is coming from outside. We want our user to communicate from inside to outside, but we don't want any user to come out and access our inside network, right? So this would be your condition. That would be your condition, right? So what, let me repeat the condition. We want all inside users to access the internet from outside, but next condition is we don't want outside users to communicate with inside, right? Right, guys?
Yeah, understood.
Okay. So this would be your
Yes, man.
requirement. Means every company has the same requirement. They don't want outside people to come inside and access any server into my company, right? So
But
in
this
that
is
case,
but this is only we allow the access, right? We allow specific.
dear, we never allow access from any outside port. Yes, but we can use one solution, which is VPN. Right? I'll give you one laptop with VPN software. You just need to click on connect, and once you click on connect, your laptop will create a tunnel with my firewall, and that would be totally secure tunnel. But still, my outside port will remain blocked.
Outside port or outside interface, you mean?
Outside interface, yes.
No, but we allow from outside to inside also.
Yes, we allow, but we need to create a policy into my firewall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, so this port is not just blocked off,
Without
right?
policy, yes, without policy, you will not be able to access your inside network. Or you can use another solution, which is VPN, right? But most of the companies won't allow any user to access with their outside port. If you are using any VPN solution, suppose, let me give you one example. This is your user, right? with one laptop. Suppose this is user A, B, and C, right? And now what is the solution? Because this port will remain closed or remain off. I cannot say off. It would be on, but it cannot pass any kind of traffic. And if this user, suppose this is your employee, right? And we gave one software, right, which is global protect software in case of Palo Alto, right? For Cisco ASA, Cisco FTD, we have AnyConnect. For Checkpoint, we have secure remote, right? And for Fortigate, we have Fortigate client, like. So there are every firewall has their own VPN software. First thing, right? Same like Palo Alto, they also have their own software, right? Suppose this is your user employee, right? And this employee installed that software into their laptop, and it will click on connect, right? Once it click on connect button, it will create a tunnel between this interface to this interface directly, bypass. So this would be your tunnel between your employee and your inside network. We never create or enable tunnel on outside interface. Always remember. But for that, we need to create a policy into my firewall so that I can permit that tunnel.
Okay, can you for simplicity's sake, can you give an example when this port when we this outside interface will we ever use as far as creating a can you give a simple example, a brief example when this port will be used?
Yes. We always use outside interface just to connect with the internet. That's it. And now let me come back to the same scenario which we were talking about before, right? We were here on part 1. We already done with the SYN packet. Now we have SYN plus ACK packet coming from my server, right? Let's get back to the story. So this is your second step, right? Now suppose if my outside interface block every packet, it blocks every packet which come from outside, right? Suppose this is your user X. If he would like to try to access your inside network from this port, it would be directly dropped. The packet would be dropped, right? Packet would directly be dropped. But if this SYN and ACK request is coming from outside, once it reaches on this outside interface port or outside out interface, right? I can say like that. Once this SYN plus ACK packet reaches to this out interface, my firewall checks this table, which is called connection table. This table is called connection table, right? This is your connection table. Once this SYN plus ACK reaches to this point, it will check the connection table. If that package, this packet sent by any inside user, then only this packet would be allowed to my inside network. Otherwise, it would be dropped again. Guys,
Come
you
again,
understand?
when it will be
Yes.
allowed?
Yes. Okay. Let me create one more example.
Mani, just to add, does that mean the session information is maintained by the firewall all the time?
Right. Not all the time. If any user send packet from your inside to outside only. But
okay,
if any X user trying to send any SYN packet, then my firewall will directly drop it over here, because this interface will never allow any packet to come from inside to outside. Sorry, outside to inside. Let me give you another example. SYN plus ACK. Suppose your server sending one packet which is SYN plus ACK, right? SYN plus ACK. Once my firewall receives this SYN plus ACK on this outside interface, it will check the connection table. Connection table. If we have one existing entry of the SYN packet, suppose we already have the SYN packet entry. If we found that entry, SYN packet entry, then this packet would be forwarded to the user A. If we don't have any kind of SYN packet entry, the packet would directly be dropped on this interface, because my firewall won't be able to find the session, or won't be able to understand the session, right? Guys, to create
And
one,
Mani,
yes,
I have one doubt. Like, if n number of users, you try to attempting like this TCP synchronization, and then n number of SYN packets are keep remain on firewall.
n number of users trying to
N number
connect from inside to
from internal,
outside or outside.
yeah, from internal network to outside.
Yes, definitely. It will always create one entry onto their connection table.
Okay.
This is your stateful firewall feature.
Okay, Mani, on that then, does it look at all the four parameters? So in other words, source, destination, and source and destination port as well, or does it only look at the SYN ACK?
No, it will check everything.
Okay.
Means what would be your source IP,
Yep.
what would be your
It's
source
an
port,
yeah.
yeah, source address, all the information would be going to be matched.
Okay. So
Where
how's
it
the
will be
company going to
seen?
manage if they've got demilitarized zones, so where they've got web servers, email servers, database? How would they be placed in your scenario?
Right. For that, suppose this is your firewall and this is your DMZ zone, right? And this is your outside interface. For that, we have one solution, which is called destination NAT. Sorry, destination NAT, right? So what destination NAT is, actually we will be covering this destination NAT part in further classes, right?
Okay,
But
that's fine.
destination NAT, in short, let me tell you what is destination NAT. So destination NAT means you will create one entry. Suppose this is your DMZ server with the IP of 10.1.1, right? And this is the IP that you are getting from your ISP. Clear?
Yep.
And now you have one more static IP from your ISP, which is 3.3.3.3, right? And 4.4 you are using to connect with the internet, but 3.3 you are using for to connect with your DMZ zone. So what destination NAT does is, destination NAT create one static entry into my firewall. Suppose if someone hit 3.3 IP, right? Someone hit on 3.3 IP, then it would be natted into 10.1.1.1. This is your
Understood.
destination NAT concept,
Understood.
right? In that case, we always suppose you have some outside user over here. This is your outside users. This is your user A,
Mm.
and this is your user B. And we always give this IP address. This is your public IP address. So we always give this IP address to user A. User A would open a browser and hit on 3.3.3.3.3. Once
Okay.
we request the request on this port, my firewall will net create a NAT, or I can say translate it into NAT, and it directly forward the packet to 10.1.1.
Understood. Understood.
So this is the concept. All
One
right,
other
guys.
question.
So
Yep.
yes,
On the firewall, for the WAN interface, are they 100 megabits or the gig interface? Or is there a bottleneck on that firewall? I've not seen any firewall interfaces, so that's why I'm asking.
Uh, Actually, it first thing, it depends upon the model of your
Okay,
firewall, like whether it is high end firewall, I can say, right?
okay,
If you are managing thousands of users with that firewall, then definitely that would be your 10 gig interface,
understood. Okay,
right? It totally depends upon your requirement.
okay,
Means how many number of users are going to connect with that interface, right? It
right,
depends
right.
upon your requirement.
Okay.
Right, guys. So this is your stateful firewall feature, right? So in the stateful firewall feature, we do have one connection table, right? Or you can also say it state table. This is your state table or connection table. So it always create the session. Just let us go back to the
Hello, Mani.
yes.
Mani, as you told that it will keep the TCP session entry in
Mm,
the connection
mm,
table. So
mhm.
if in case we are accessing outside any UDP application, then in that
Mm.
scenario, how it will be? Because in the UDP, there will not be a three-way handshaking.
No. So it will directly forward the packet. That's it, because no one is going to send any UDP traffic from our inside network, because we directly drop it. We can send UDP as well.
Yeah, we can send the DNS traffic from inside.
DNS traffic one way. Yes,
Could you
one
just
way traffic.
little bit elaborate?
Only one more thing actually, how sync attack happens when even though in some network, even the firewalls are actively monitored,
Hmm.
sometimes sync attack happens, right, to the internal
Yes,
nodes, I believe, right?
yes, right. Guys, that is your DOS attack, right?
Yes, yes, does.
DOS attack, right? So again, this attack we will be covering in further classes, right? If I start this feature, explaining this feature or this thing, it
No,
will
no,
take a lot of time.
I just want to know it will be hitting the out interface or it will be directly going.
Yes, definitely, it would be hitting the out interface of your firewall, but we always block our outside interface. We never
Okay.
allow anyone to access through my outside interface.
So
Never ever.
there is some other.
Even you are employee of the company, again you are not allowed to access any inside network through this outside interface. Never.
So the
We will
intruder
give you one VPN. Yeah. Yes,
intruder
yes,
is
yes.
using some other mechanism for this DOS attack.
For DOS attack, my firewall has a certain kind of mechanism which already enabled in this firewall, right?
Yeah.
Means which we already have with this firewall, which is not a part of next generation firewall feature, right? Even if I talk about a Cisco router, normal Cisco router, right, which is your 7200 series or 3000 series or 2811, right? So these both router has one feature which is called TCP inspection. Mm, Sorry, TCP intercept. This is your TCP intercept feature. 7200 series or 3000
And
series or 2811, right? So these both router has one feature which is called TCP inspection. Yes, you can say Sorry, inspection. TCP intercept. Yes, This is your TCP intercept feature. yes. 7200 series or to prevent the DOS attack. We already has this feature. So if I talk about the legacy firewalls, our legacy firewall works on layer 4, means from layer 1 to layer 4, layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4. But if I talk about next generation firewall works on layer 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All layers of the OSI model, right?
Right.
Okay,
Manish,
guys.
please, hey, Mani, please, can you just little bit elaborate on that UDP traffic because it doesn't have the things in it and that.
Guys, UDP traffic is unicast, multicast, or broadcast. What is it? What is it? It can be all. We can unicast a UDP traffic. We can multicast a UDP traffic, and even we can broadcast a uni, uh, UDP traffic. Right? Suppose this is your firewall, and this firewall is deployed into one news channel.
But before that, UDP is connectionless traffic.
Yes, there is no connection here. There is no connection or states can be maintained. Right, this is your news channel office, right? And uh, here we have some employees, right, who are streaming something live to your television network, right? Suppose this is your UDP traffic. Nobody is coming inside. Always remember, we are just broadcasting it from inside to outside. So if I talk about the firewall policies, on the day one, when we start creating the firewall policy, on the day one, the first policy which we are going to create is, the first policy would be, we always allow inside users to access outside network. So this would be your first policy, right? So again, your UDP traffic would always match this policy. Guys, have you understand? Because UDP don't have any kind of states, right? So we don't need to maintain any kind of state for UDP traffic.
Okay.
We never maintain any state. We never use connection table. We don't want my router or my device to use their memory for UDP traffic. Suppose in your inside network you have IP phones, but that is also uses TCP traffic here. That won't use UDP.
No, VoIP uses UDP traffic. Voice over
VoIP,
IP. Yep, that uses UDP traffic.
right?
Because if it was TCP, the packets will be out of sync. The voice would be, muddled up. So that's why it uses UDP.
But yes, before it was UDP, but we do have some kind of IP phone which uses, for example, you are uh, uh, you are dialing someone a video call, right? You are using IP phone for video call purpose, right? In that case, that would be the TCP session. That won't be the UDP session. If I talk about only voice, then it would be UDP session. All right, guys. So suppose this is your firewall 1 and firewall 2. Mm, Again, this is your IP phone, right? Guys, as you already know, we always use mostly we use IP phone in our inside network only, or we use it to connect with different branches. Means that would be a kind of your private network. That won't be a kind of your outside network, I can say. Guys, we always use IPv phone, IP phone for our internal users or for our internal company network only, right?
Mm. That is true, Money, but yeah, there are a lot of companies use the gateway out. So in other
Right,
words, from your, let's say I make a call from India to USA, it will traverse within my private network, but then it will gate out to local numbers in USA. So technically, yes, you're right. That traffic should remain within your organization,
right,
but they have policies where they can actually route that telephone call from
right.
outside of your domain in USA into whatever
Hmm.
national calls within the USA. So person making a call from India would not
Hmm.
be charged international. They would
Right,
reach the US and it would
right,
gate out after it, basically. That's how we
right.
did it.
Yes. So for that, we have one more box which is called PBX,
Correct.
right? We
Yep.
use PBX. Clear?
Yep.
So, but that would be the different concept which I am not going to cover over here,
Sure. Sure.
right? So guys, let's go back to the scenario, and we already discussed about the stateful, and now let's talk about the stateless. Stateless means there is no state would be maintained. We don't need to maintain any kind of state. Suppose this is your firewall, inside user and outside, and inside user accessing the internet directly from outside, but outside user also allowed to access your inside network in that case, because there is no state would be maintained by your firewall. You can do two things. Either you can allow traffic on this interface, allow, or you can deny. If you deny it, you won't be able to make any kind of TCP three-way handshake session with any server, because your outside interface denies everything. Guys, getting my point?
Yeah, is
Are
it
you
like
getting my
the
point?
NSGs in Azure and AWS?
Mm, maybe because I don't have good
Network
knowledge
security
about.
gateway. I think they are stateless.
Mhm. Okay, so this is a kind of static packet filtering. Let me give you one brief example. Suppose we have one company and we have two requirements. One is we want all the users, all the inside users to go outside, permitted, right? I can say permitted. Now the second requirement we have is outside users should not be able to access my inside network. I can say, in other words, we can say deny. We don't want any outside user to access my inside network, right? Let me give you one example. Suppose this is your router, outside interface, which is connected with the internet, inside interface where you have users, right? You have three users. Now I'm talking about stateless feature or stateless firewall, right? This is your stateless. It means we are not creating any kind of state. We are not maintaining any packet. So now, in that scenario, we have two requirements. We want all the users to go inside to outside. So that would be very easy, right? We just have to connect with the internet, and we need to get one public IP from the ISP, and my inside user will start communicating with outside network, right? Now, if I talk about my second requirement, which is outside user cannot communicate with inside user, in that case, my stateless firewall won't work. How? Let me show you why my stateless firewall won't work in that case. We can perform two things on a router. Either we can deny any traffic or we can allow any traffic by creating ACL. Guys, ACL, access control list,
Yep.
right? We can do two things only. We can either deny it or we can either permit it, right? Suppose we want to, I would like to achieve the second condition, which is outside user won't be able to access my inside network. In that case, I'll create one access control ACL, right? And call it on this interface, which is your outside interface. And this ACL says deny any. It means deny all the traffic which is coming from outside to inside, right? Do you think that would be the right solution?
No.
Why? So my next question is why?
Because the whole idea is, I mean, the access list. If you deny everything
Hmm.
in the routing, I'm hoping it's the same as well. Explicit deny is returned
Hmm.
after, so you got to have a permit statement after.
Suppose we don't have any permit statement because see look at my requirement, which is your second requirement. We don't want outside user to come inside. So in
Yeah.
that case, we only use this ACL. Why we used in permit statement? If we use permit, suppose, chalo,
Yep.
let's use permit port 80, right? If we give this statement, any X user will come into the picture and it will directly hit your port 80 and access your inside network. Why we give them the access of the port 80?
So Mani, the firewall,
We never give them,
does it
right?
only use access
We'll never
list?
do that,
Yes. Does it only use access list? Does it not use IP prefix or
right?
route
If I
map?
talk about the attack scenario, in that case, anyone can access your inside network through the port 80 because your once
Yeah,
this
you leave
attack,
in a door
hmm,
open.
yeah.
Yes, you're right. You need to restrict that. So Mani, I was asking, these firewalls, do they only are you only able to configure the access list? Can you use IP prefix list, route map like we use in Cisco?
So I'm thinking with this, the deny any traffic source from outside inbound is correct, but you would have a policy that allowed all traffic sourced from inside to going to outside to return back in. So that may reference that state table that you mentioned before. That's for TCP. UDP, unfortunately, you will have to have a bi-directional rules for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mani, are you back online?
Yeah, I think money might have disconnected due to the packet drop.
Okay,
Yeah, so just let's wait.
sure.
Guys, hello guys. Did we go over what's the price of the course and the time for the
I
classes?
think Sagar's gonna do the lab and he'll explain all that later on.
Yeah, so I think since Money got disconnected, might be yeah, he said he is connecting. Yeah, so I'll just come back once Money has done regards to all this timing. Timing is basically 8:30 p.m. IST, which is 3 p.m. UTC time. Okay, and today is a class one. It's a class one today.
Got it. And the price of the course?
So I'll let you know. I'll give you my WhatsApp number so you can ping us, or you can directly go to the website. So I'll just drop my link over here on the Zoom chat, so you can just pull it up from there.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, just a small question. Before Money told about destination netting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, then what's the actual difference between that destination netting and the port forwarding features in similar routers?
See, it's like destination NAT is your NAT concepts, okay? Whereas your port forwarding, you can compare it with PAT, but it's not very clearly as a PAT or port forwarding. But yes, you can compare your port forwarding as PAT, whereas your NAT is with respective to the NAT options.
So, what is the exact differences? I didn't understood that very clearly. That's the issue.
So guys, you don't need to worry about this NAT feature because in further classes I'll be covering the NAT feature as well, right? We will be covering two type of NAT, which is the one is source NAT and the other one is destination NAT. Hi guys, Sagar, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
yes.
audible.
Okay, right.
So you start sharing your screen, Money. I'll just stop
Sure,
over here.
sure. Guys, so again, get back to the story. So now to achieve my second requirement, which is we don't want any user to come outside to inside. In that case, we will create one access list, right? Which is deny any. But in that case, do you think that it really works? And let me give you the exact answer. It will never work. Why? Why it won't work? Because let's suppose this is user A. If and there is one server, right? This is your server, and user A would like to create a TCP session with that server, and user A sending a SYN request to the server, and again in the response of SYN packet, server
Synat back.
SYN plus ACK, and your firewall will drop it over here because you have an access list which is deny any. That is why this solution won't work. This is the reason. You won't be able to create any TCP session with any other server. It means you won't be able to access the internet. I can say like that, or partially you would be able to access the internet partially, right? So that is why the checkpoint come up with your stateful feature. Stateful feature. It means if you have a state maintained into your device, this packet would be directly allowed to your inside network. Otherwise, it would be dropped. If you don't have any state maintained into the state table, then this packet would be directly dropped. So this is the main difference between stateless and stateful. feature. Guys, any question about stateless feature?
Yes, Mani. So this you mentioned that you have to put the deny ACL. So, but this deny any is by there is an implicit deny in the firewall, right? Oh no.
Right.
So what's the use of stateless feature? Stateful feature, which it is remained session. But what about the stateless feature? Any
Stateless
particular?
feature, yes. Stateless feature we always use only for denying or permitting any kind of traffic. Suppose we don't want any kind of routes to come out from a network, right? We can block it by creating a ACL. We don't want any particular user to access the internet. We can create a static ACL, and we can deny that particular user. Even we can deny a particular network, right? A group of network. You once you create the ACL, you need to tell the network ID 168.1.0/24. You need to tell the network ID. You don't need to specify a particular IP address. Guys, if I
Mani,
talk up,
yeah, stateful feature means you don't need a bidirectional rule, or you need only is a single rule.
yes, you can say this is one of the difference. If I talk about stateless and stateful, it works. It sends and receive traffic on both end, right? Just because of that table, which is connection table. And if I talk about stateless, it with the stateless feature, we can only send traffic, but we cannot receive it because we do have an ACL
Okay.
in one direction. Yeah.
Yeah, Mani, can we take an example of HTTPS 443, and then based on that, we put a rule saying that it's allowed. In that scenario, what will be the state and stateless condition?
So stateless, and you have created one rule, and you are allowing HTTPS traffic, right? 443. In that case, guys, always remember, any X user use this for send any kind of request on this port, it means this 443 port is open on your firewall. It will send any malicious packet through this port into your inside network here. We never ever permit any kind of traffic from our outside interface. Always remember, we never ever allow any kind of traffic. Even if you are a company employee, again you are not allowed to access inside network through this interface. Never. We always create or enable VPN or tunnel on this inside interface. We never enable VPN tunnel on outside interface. We never enable it.
Yeah, but we can put it on the DMZ, right?
Again, guys, DMZ is a different concept. Yes, we can do that. But for DMZ, again, we have destination NAT. Means you have one static entry into your firewall. If only user hit that particular interface, and that would be directly redirected to your DMZ zone. Again, that user won't be able to access your inside network. Never. It because this user will directly be forwarded to your DMZ zone. Guys, we will cover all the topics in further classes, right? So let's stick on the topic, which is stateless and stateful. Guys, any more question about stateless and stateful? Any more question?
Can we have any more difference between stateful and stateless? Is that the only difference? Like
This is the only yeah, this is the only main difference. I can say see, if I talk about the bookish language, then there would be 10, 15, 20, 50 kind of differences. But if I talk about the concept, this is the only concept we have, right? So if I'll be your teacher, I only work on the concept part, right? And I'll give you the homework. You need to go through with the book. I'll give you the concept. And concept is the only solution if you are working in a real-time environment. If you are troubleshooting any real network, in that case, your concept part will work. Your book never work, right? Book will I cannot say never help it, but sometime it helps it, right? But your concept must be strong in networking if you are in this industry.
So, Mani, you are talking about the tunnel which would be established on the inside network. So, can you elaborate that point?
Not today, but in future classes, I'll be taking 2 sessions on
No,
VPN.
on high level overview about that.
Guys, for that, guys, again, I need to explain 9 types of packet, right? Because everyone don't understand the VPN, right? So again, 9 types of packet we have for phase 1 and phase 2 tunnel, and there are so many things, and we have some parameters which is HAGLE, right? Hashing and algorithm, DH group, Diffie-Hellman group, and lifetime and encryption. So there, that is a, I can say it would be time taking process here, right? Which I am
So
not going to cover it today.
could you give one more example for like a stateless traffic? In which scenario we use this? For example, like you said before, in the wipe. So maybe some other example for stateless.
ACL is the best example of stateless. Why we use ACL?
Yeah, to unwanted traffic to block.
We use ACL to block any particular port traffic, port number traffic, suppose port number 80 traffic, right? We can filter any particular host, or we can also filter any particular network with ACL. Clear, guys? We can do 3 things with the ACL. Again, ACL is your stateless packet filtering. Simple.
Okay, thank you.
Clear? You can do all 3 things. You can block or permit any port. You can block any particular host or allow it, or you can block or or deny any particular network. Clear, guys? So this is your state stateless, or yeah, you can say stateless packet filtering, right? Static packet filtering is also stateless packet filtering. Now let's move to the next concept, which is next generation firewall. So guys, the basic difference between our legacy firewall, which is our old firewall, right, which works till layer 4. But if I talk about next generation firewall, which works till layer 7, it means the main difference is my next generation firewall works on layer 7, and my legacy firewall, which is my old firewall, you can say, where we were using ACL, right? We use ACL to block any port. It means the port number comes on layer 4, which is transport layer of the OSI model, right? So that would be your legacy firewall. But the next generation firewall works on layer 7. The main feature of next generation firewall combines traditional firewall technology with additional functionalities such as encrypted traffic inspection, intrusion prevention system, antivirus, and more. Most notable, it includes deep packet inspection. DPI, right? Deep packet inspection means this next generation firewall also scanning your payload. Payload means we always attach IP header where you have source IP, destination IP, and source port and destination port information in your IP header. And behind that we have one payload where we have original data. Suppose you are sending any hi message to someone, so this would be added to your payload, right? It would not be the part of IP header, right? So my next generation firewall also inspect payload, right? So that would be, yeah.
Sandvine device, right? It is doing so. Sandvine is a next generation firewall. There is a specific DPI devices are there, right?
SAN or WAN?
Sandvine, Sandvine.
Can you spell it?
SANVINE. SAN. SAN.
SAN. VINE.
Yeah. It is. It's a vendor. Leave the name. The vendor. It is only. Yeah.
Right.
It is doing packet inspection actually, deep packet inspection. So, is there any difference between the next generation firewall DPI and devices like that, which is specifically doing DPI? What is the major difference? Do you have any idea?
Right, guys, if any firewall, whatever the name is, whether it is Palo-Alto, Checkpoint, ASA, whatever it is, right? If my firewall inspecting packet till layer 7, it means that would be your next generation firewall. That's it. And nowadays, most of the firewalls are next generation firewall, but they are not the top leaders like Palo-Alto, Checkpoint, and all, right? Have you heard about Sophos? PHOS, something like that. Sophos is one of the company. CyberRoam,
Yeah, CyberRoam.
right?
Yes.
Yes. So they are also using next generation firewall feature, but they are not the top leaders of this firewall kind of competition, right? They do filter packet on the basis of payload. Now they also have this kind of technology, right, guys? So now let's talk about some history of the Palo-Alto, right? So why we need Palo-Alto? Uh, Actually, Palo-Alto come up with some new ideas with next generation firewall feature. NGFW, I can say next generation firewall feature would be introduced by Palo-Alto only, right? But the stateful firewall feature introduced by Checkpoint. That's why Palo-Alto is very popular. Palo-Alto introduced some new features in next generation firewall category like app ID and user ID, right? Palo-Alto was the only firewall who found this feature, which is app ID and user ID. They do have multiple features apart from that. They also found multiple features like wildfire. This feature also invented by Palo-Alto. So guys, let's go through with some firewall Palo-Alto firewall history. Palo-Alto network was founded in 2005 by Israel American Nirzuk, right? Former engineer of Checkpoint, and he also worked with NetScreen Technologies and was the principal developer of the first stateful inspection firewall and the first IPS intrusion prevention system. Right, he was the part of these projects. In 2007, the company produced the shipped its first firewall and advanced enterprise firewall, which it branded the word first next generation firewall. So in 2007, they have launched their firewall, uh, which is next generation firewall. They used this name next generation firewall in 2007. After that, all firewall updated themselves. Right now, next generation firewall In Cisco, we have iOS. In Palo Alto, we have PanOS. We call it PanOS. We don't have iOS. We call it PanOS, right? Now, as a physical appliance through the Palo Alto series, which includes small form factor firewalls such as PA220, that is for SME businesses, right? Small offices, and to the PA7000 series, which series built for larger enterprises and service provider. So this is your high-end firewall, and this is your PA220. That would be for small medium enterprises kind of businesses. Right? Next, as a virtual appliances through the VM series, allowing the firewall to be run as a virtual machine, right? So we do have virtualized firewall. We can install it, we can purchase it, right? So for that we need to purchase a license, right? Now the last point of the day, which is as a streamlined cloud service provided by Palo Alto Network through Global Protect Cloud Service, right? So this Global Protect feature we will be covering again in further classes.
Mani, would you mind explaining on the sizing of the boxes? What sort of calculations needs to be done?
Sizes of the boxes,
Yeah, say like we have a given amount of 500 users. So which particular box we should look into, and what are the parameters we should consider?
Parameters again, it totally depends upon your requirement, guys. It totally depends upon your requirements. For that, you need to contact with the Palo Alto sales team.
Yeah, that's fine. That's secondary actually, but primarily means if I want to build a solution, so I need to know that what I have to pitch, and then I can approach Palo Alto, Fortigate, or whoever it is. But initially, for my reference or anybody's, there has to be certain calculations to be done for selecting a
So
particular.
guys, as per my experience, I have seen so many IT companies uses Palo Alto FTD most of the time. But if I talk about any financial organizations like banks,
I mean, regarding question, I mean, you have to look into the data sheets of Palo Alto actually. What is the VPN? How many GBPS they are providing actually? How many client-to-site VPN your requirement is? Suppose Palo Alto provides some more VPN connections, or Checkpoint provides some more. It's all depends on the data sheets actually. Maybe you can look it out in the Palo Alto website, data sheet, and your requirement matches. Then you can approach the Palo Alto. Because it varies from vendor to vendor actually.
I completely agree with that, but that comes as a second stage. But primarily, if there has to be some sort of calculations to be done,
here only the topics only need to be discussed about it, right? So the vendor you need to check out on internet.
Right.
Whichever.
So guys, as per my experience, I've seen so many firewalls. If I talk about IT companies, most of the time they use Palo Alto, FTD, and Checkpoint. Right. So that would be your that. As per my experience, I cannot say these are the only firewalls IT company uses. Right. If I talk about financial organization, they always use Checkpoint. They never use Palo Alto. I don't know why. Right. So for that, you need to contact Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and Cisco, and the next your Fortigate as well. Right. And you will find the difference definitely.
Well, my question was not related to the difference. It was related to the sizing of the box.
Right, guys, I cannot. Yeah, you want
No,
the exact
actually,
configuration.
No, actually, it depends on your question itself is your answer. It depends on capacity planning. Like what are the services you need and how many VPN, everything. You yourself has the answer. It's just the data sheet. Like some, yeah, you need to look at the quadrant and then see which one is the suitable one for you.
Because nobody can answer the for this actually. you're
Right.
asking for which one is better, you have to decide. Your company should take
All firewall has all the features because all 4 firewalls are next generation firewall. Right, guys? So I cannot say Palo Alto is good, Checkpoint is
No, Mani, it's not. That's not the question he's asking. He's asking how should I select which modules to use, how many servers, and what are the licenses I need to buy. So for going back to that question, that's what I'm saying. Capacity planning. You need to know how many VPN users you'll be putting and how many sites will
right.
be connected across, and based on that.
It also depends upon your budget.
Yeah, budget and data sheets can provide you the information actually. What are the services you require? SSL VPN, client to site VPN, how many is configuring, how many devices actually. Suppose if you are taking a Palo Alto with a basic small model, it cannot support to the 2000 users. So it depends on the data sheet of the company, how many requirement and what is the user.
I think every hardware should define as per your requirement, client's requirement actually. I think so.
Actually, everything is defined in the data sheet. Which firewall model can support how many users, how many sessions, how much the throughput. So according to that, we plan and we use the data sheet.
Everything comes in that. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. In data should we have all the
You cannot judge which one is the better and why you are choosing for that particular firewall. You have to decide everything like users load and services also and lots of things. You cannot decide a single firewall.
Money, is there something similar to like what we have in switches like ASIC? Is there something similar to that in firewalls also, like ASIC or CPU? What do they use?
CPU. Can you please
like Cisco
question
switches? Oh,
Uh-huh.
sure. So like Cisco switches, they have the whole throughput, and the new engine is the ASIC of the Cisco switches. So similar to that, what is the processing unit of a firewall? Is it a CPU, or do they have a special ASIC, or is it just a software that does all those new features and moving the traffic?
They have CPU for every plane. Like we have 3 planes over here: management plane, control plane, and data plane. Here, for every plane, they have their own CPU. Even, for example, if your control plane stopped working, in that case, your forwarding plane remain working. Right? Forwarding plane will never get stopped because your forwarding plane has their own CPU and the forwarding plane has their own RAM. Every plane has their own CPU and own RAM capacity. Guys, yeah. If we are talking about the high-end firewall, then this kind of
Please come to the topic, actually.
yeah. So guys, that's all for the day. Let me transfer this meeting to Sagar, and
Thanks
Sagar
a lot,
will.
Mani. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mani. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Sagar, are you there?
Thank you.
So Sagar will be going to tell you about the lab part, means how you can access the lab and how you can use the eVanG and all things. Sagar,
Yeah.
are we connected?
Yeah, Mani. So I've started sharing the screen.
Yes, sure.
Maybe you have to stop your share for now.
Yeah, yes, sure. Done.
Okay. So guys, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just take you over the web portal and how do we access, because here in this meeting we have most of them enrolled and there could be few who have not enrolled. Okay, so those who have enrolled, I have started rolling out the email with the web portal access, the G Drive link, and the lab access. Okay, so that is what I'm gonna cover. But before that, I want to take you to the lab topology which we have constructed for this batch. Okay, So those who are taking up all the 5 modules, you would be getting this topology or this lab. This is over on GNS right now, but we are gonna replicate the same thing over on EVNG as well. Okay. Now the good thing about this lab is you are gonna practice all the technology. You have ASA, you are gonna have Fortigate, Palo, Checkpoint. This is one site. You will have another site. You can construct VPN, you can construct policies, you can have HA failovers. And over here, we have kept some MPLS cloud. Okay, so all the routings will happen over on the MPLS. And then on the right hand side, the one with the yellowish background, they're all part of FI load balancer. Okay, so if you're new to the class today, let me tell you, this is a batch where you're gonna learn 5 technology. We are starting with Palo, second would be FI, Fortigate or ASA would be one of them, and Checkpoint. So there are 5 technologies. So those students who are enrolling all the 5, we are gonna provide you this. This is very massive technology or lab with like 20 firewalls deployed overall, with lot many routers, switches, the different instances which even I'm not going to consider. So you have 20-25 instance of the different vendors here. Okay, now just quick uh, test. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove those marker. I have some windows with me. So let's say I just do a quick refresh here. Okay, let's assume that this is a web page of one of a company, any company. When I'm refreshing this, you see the web page is getting uh, pulled upon, or there is something, some sorts of connection happening, right? Now let me tell you where is this packet actually flowing from. So I'm over here. I'm sitting over here in one of the site, and the web page that I am accessing is over here. Okay, so how is my traffic flowing now? My traffic is flowing over on the ASA firewall, over on the ISP router, over on the MPLS cloud. It's gonna enter one more instance of firewall. It's gonna enter to the F5. F5 is gonna do the load balancing. Okay, so this is a one simple uh, flow which I just had to show here, but we are gonna make a workbook here. So this would be when you have completed with all your 5 modules, when you are good with your basics. The trainer money would be going with a topology, a small scale topology as well, where he will be explaining each and every features, each and every topics on each vendors. Okay, there is when you will start feeling, or you will start taking this as a troubleshooting challenge, and you will go ahead and you will start working out. Okay, yeah, I can see one question put up. It says that what is this used for? Okay. Now this is just a Ubuntu operating system, and this is a Windows operating system. The reason why I have kept it without cabling is, let's say you have any requirement in your enterprise, you need a Windows machine to cable up to a Palo-Alto. Okay, and you want to test some feature, so you need some operating system, right? And we are going to provide you that provision. We are going to do that provision. So you have everything in this topology which you can work upon. Let's say you're good with firewall technology, you're good with going ahead and gonna practice yourself, or else we will give you the troubleshooting workbook. Let's say I have this instance of traffic now. Let's say I have purposefully removed some features from here. Let's say I have removed the a floating IP, or let's say I have removed some VLANs from here, and the whole troubleshooting for you would be to check and fix the issue. Now you are gonna check every aspect of the technology, how the packet is flowing. So I also have a Wireshark kept with me. So I'm having a Wireshark capture running on this instance. Okay, so when my traffic just goes over on this, let's see what the Wireshark has to give us. So now you see there is no traffic, there is no packet, no interesting packet. Okay, let me just refresh my browser. So you see what is happening in the backend. So when you do a quick refresh, there is a TCP packet which is initialized. You see the SYN-ACK, hack, right? That's how we learn, right? When we see something happening on a real-time point of view, we know what is happening in the backend or what happens in the uh, enterprise. Yes, you can say that a data center, because most of the time you might have deployed two instance of firewall, you might have done HA, you might have done some sorts of configuration, but this is kind of a data center. Okay. And yes, we have some all the things properly set up on this. This is the FI GUI interfaces, and the VIP, the URL which I was trying to browse, is one of the VIP over here. Okay, so I just called it as my first HTTP VIP, and if we see the stats, we can see the traffic is being handled by this VIP. Okay, and let's say you want to dig more into this, you're troubleshooting on the nodes. You can of course go to the uh, pool members. You can try to see which member is serving the traffic. You can of course change uh, the load balancing algorithm to see how the server's gonna manage. Okay, we will show you the certification part as well here. So how do you put this self-signed certification and make it HTTPS or I rules? Okay, so kind of a overview. Okay, kind of a overview. I know I cannot cover the entire aspect in just 10-15 minutes, but you are all good at this whatever we just covered, and what are we all gonna take it forward. So you know what is been gonna cover getting covered in this particular massive topology. Okay, so any question here? Do you want to add something which is not been you think this that could not be done over on this?
Yeah, I would like to know, are we going to cover any sort of east-west traffic and plus integration with NSXT and ACI?
No, we don't have ACI things. That could be a different track itself. This is a firewall module, right? So this is a firewall module with
No,
five
not
top
talking about
technologies.
ACI. I'm talking about the integration with ACI. Any of the firewalls, integrating with ACI. Just the basic things.
I don't think ACI we
Okay,
can
okay,
bring
fine.
in
Yeah.
here because that's totally a different thing.
Hi,
So
Saga.
Sagar, okay, go ahead.
Kofi here. Yep. So I think I had sent you an email, right? I missed the timing. When I did the conversion, I thought the class was actually in the evening, but it looks like it started in the morning. How soon will I get the videos? Because I definitely would miss some of the classes, but I would want to make up for it in the evening when I get home. How soon would the videos be available?
So as I told in the beginning of today's class, so
I
after
missed
the
that. Yep.
yeah, so after the class, it basically takes us 4 to 5 hours to render the videos. Okay, so it would be delayed by 4 to 5 hours. So that is what I want to say. And once that phase of rendering happens, we upload it, and that directly goes on the web portal. So this is the web portal. Uh, I have emailed everyone about this link. Those who have enrolled, I'm talking about. So here is where all the recordings, all the class notes, the workbook, the all the stuff should be put up here. This is a centralized. We don't keep WhatsApp as a sort of thing where we distribute materials, all those things. It will be more on the centralized basis. Okay, so this is one website where you will find everything: the recordings, class notes, the workbook, the regular labs that would be discussed on a daily class. Okay, everything will be put up here.
Okay, Sagar, you mentioned you showed us the complete schematic diagrams for all 5 firewalls. Uh,
Yeah.
um, Going forward, as we learn, are we gonna be indon't by the complete schematic diagrams, or it will be like bite size? What you learned, you practice.
See, now we have two things here. One is when you go with byte by byte learning, like let's say class after class. So our topology will be a different, where we have a very limited number of things put up. Okay,
Okay.
so that would be the regular classes.
Excellent.
Once you're good with everything, all the 5 technologies, there comes this particular thing, and we are gonna give you 24
Manny,
hours
I
of.
think that I didn't see what you were doing, but on my
Sorry,
part of the fire.
I'll just put on mute. I guess there was some background noise. Yeah. So what I was telling is, once we are done with all the 5 modules, we are gonna give the access to the enrolled student for 24 hours or into
Okay.
7. Okay.
Okay.
So there would be no time constraint here saying that you can only work at this part of time or something like that. It will be 24/7. You are free to open up this lab, follow the workbook. If you're good at what you are doing in your industry, you are free to set your own lab, your own aspect. We have everything here. If you just want me to pull up one cloud router, so I can just show you how is this MPLS going on. So you can see all the labels are tagged up with the
Okay.
label. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a full kind of a real time industry. It's not that I have written MPLS, but over there I have put some IGP protocol like OSPF, and I'm just saying that that's MPLS. No, it's not. Okay, it's actually the MPLS which is taking the traffic here.
Okay. Okay. And what is the time scale? I mean, I know you said 24/7. What happens if like 3 people want to learn concurrently? Would that be possible? Or you only have
So
one lab available for all your students?
see, this lab would be multiplied into many single instances. So
Okay.
everyone will have their own instance at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Understood.
So I today I a few minutes back before the class start, I had just dropped one email to all the enrolled student with a web
Ah,
portal.
right. Okay.
So that means they will have their own web portal access. Similar way, they are gonna have their own lab server access, so they don't have to be dependent on someone else. So everyone will get their own instance. They can open up
Excellent.
and start practicing. And
Okay.
yes, the G Drive link, which is something where we will put up all the class notes, the
Okay.
workbook, and all the required things.
Okay. Do you have a lab technician? So if there is any problems while you're doing the lab, you come across a problem, is there somebody available at the WhatsApp
Yes.
group or anybody?
Yes, we have a live support. We have a trainer who would be working on the US time zone. So
Okay.
you feel free to reach out to him. So we are there
Excellent.
for you guys. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
And what about
Sagar, the MPLS lab will be running also active, right?
Yes, it is
So we'll
running.
be able.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is running. It is running. So I can do two things. If you're not very familiar with MPLS, I'll put the MPLS pre-configured and you start doing your firewall thing and F5 thing. Let's say you want to do your MPLS and you want to practice something, then I'll just give you the config. You try to figure it out. How do you fix this MPLS thing and all?
Yeah,
But
that
it,
will be a
yeah,
bonus.
yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Fantastic. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So see,
Yeah, I
MPLS.
appreciate.
Yeah, MPLS is not part of this module, but we are giving it as a bonus. So you take it the way you can spend the time on this. Because if you're not from the routing switching, you might think, why MPLS? Why should not concentrate on FI or the other vendor? So I don't want to waste your time as well. So I'll give you both the option. I'll give you
Sure.
MPLS config done, or I will give you the blank routers. It's up to you. How do you want to take this and start playing around with all the end-to-end packet flow and all the other things?
Okay.
And the
Thanks.
MPLS cloud, are you running training side by side, or is that not been decided yet?
See, there is no training as such, at least in the firewall module, but at least we can take one class where we can tell you all overview from the MPLS that's required. Okay,
Okay.
maybe one class at the end of all the 5 modules, so
Yeah.
that you can actually practice on this particular and the massive topology where you know what is happening.
Okay. Superb.
So, like, what about certification path? Actually, you are giving 100% assurance once the course is completed, or
So yeah, so certification part, as Mani told, it's all depend on the vendor and which certification we have picked up. let's say for Palo Alto, trainer already told that it will be PCNSA, but we will touch few topics from expert as well. Okay, so for every vendors, trainer has already revealed what certification is gonna touch. Let's say for Fortigate, I remember he told NSC 1, 2, 3, 4 till 4, and similar way in the case of Checkpoint, he was talking about the CCSA. If I'm not wrong, and FY he's gonna touch 101, the TMSH part.
Fine. And what is the overall cost of this? I mean,
You do one thing. See, cost depends on like if you want to take single module. I mean, you wanna take only one firewall, or you wanna take all of them. If you take all of them, you have a lot of advantage. One advantage I can say is you're gonna get 6 months of lab server access. 6 months, okay. So you should think in other way that you're gonna cash back the amount what you're paying us in other way to yourself itself. 6 months of 24 bar 7 access to the lab. Okay. And second thing, the massive topology with the workbook. Rest, the trainer is gonna give your live session, the recording should be given, the notes, everything will be included. Okay. So I'll just put up that link, the link to our website with all pricing, the time schedules and all those things. So just go through it, and or you can also text me over on WhatsApp, and we can discuss on the next action plan. Okay, so tomorrow is your class number 2. So if you're really serious, then make a wise decision. Okay, or otherwise you might start losing your own time if you just delay.
Okay, so now it's time for the gifts, right?
Okay. So the gift here is so those who are gonna take all the 3 classes, I mean the 3 classes, I've requested the trainer to provide it for absolutely free. So he has agreed upon for that. So all the first 3 classes would be completely free. So today was 2 hours of session. Tomorrow is again a 2 hours of session, and Saturday it would be a kind of 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 hours of session. Okay, so he or what we have planned is we will give you the Palo Alto topology for completely free with all the VMs. I mean, with all the iOS installed in that. So you just have to deploy, and you can take it forward. That's for Palo Alto. And yes, I'll also give you one workbook for the Palo Alto. Okay, so you will get this absolutely free from us. Okay, and if you want, I will give you participation certificate for 3 days if you think that is that is required for your benefit or something. Okay,
Okay, and for those people who have paid, what do they get free?
so you will start getting all the materials.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right, so you will
Yep.
start getting all the materials. The trainer will engage you in few minutes.
Sure.
He will
No,
start
no, you're
building up
right. Yes.
yes. Okay,
Yep.
Sagar will give
so
a Cisco Firepower free.
Yeah, by the way, I wanted to tell you that as well. FTD was not included, but I have requested the trainer. He said he will cover it up. Okay, FTD, not the complete thing, but at least deployment, at least adding up FTD with FMC synchronization. So he will tell you the FTD part
Yeah,
also. That is
No,
also
that will be
that's
important.
great.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
great.
fantastic. Great.
So any question? Any question with anything regards to any like theory or whatever lab or
Yeah,
anything.
Sagar, I wasn't able to get to the lab. I could get to your homepage, but the
Okay.
lab I couldn't. And having looked at it, obviously I could get to the D drive, sorry, G drive, but there
Mhm.
was no resources. So workbook, I'm not quite sure
Yes.
if you've already published it or not.
No, they are not published. Okay,
Okay,
so we
okay,
yeah
that's the
we
reason.
we we are just in the phase 1 of giving the access now. So
Okay,
once this has been sorted up, and as days we just start going up day after day,
sure.
we will start posting up all this material on the G drive.
Thank you.
Hello, Saga.
Hey, hi. Hello.
What license are you going to use for Palo Alto?
I guess it's the basic 30 days of license, which is sufficient for the PCNSA certification.
Yeah, it means you will not be able to use all the modules in that case.
Yes, but at least from the PCNSA, NSA, the most of the topics would be covered. But yes, as the trainer was telling, he is trying to get a license where he can touch more of the NSC topic also. But yes, may or may not. That's something which
Okay, it means you're running PNSA. Okay, then.
yes.
Fine. But anyway, regarding F5, when you be able to run it, it's gonna be the second or the third month.
Sorry. Pardon me, I couldn't
F5.
hear you.
The load balancer, the F5.
Okay.
When are you going to start that part of the training?
Okay, so LTM is the second most popular course as per the enrollment is happening. So first Palo, once the Palo gets over, we are starting with the F5 immediately.
Okay.
Okay, so the second module is F5. The third one would be either Fortigate or could be the ASA or might be checkpoint. Okay, one of them.
Okay.
Sagar, there would be a way where we can integrate this with some monitoring tools like Splunk or any other devices.
Yes, we can do it. We can
that,
add
right?
the solar wind itself.
Okay. Solar winds.
Yeah, we can add the solar wind, or we can also get a monitoring tool which I had done in one of my batch is called as Observium,
Okay.
which works on either SNMP version 2 or version 3. You can add a monitoring tool as well on this.
Okay, that would be cool.
What you teach? You teach the same
I,
thing?
I, I teach CCNP Enterprise, and I teach the automation part.
Automation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Okay.
not the firewalls.
Firewall money is expert, so let have a expert over here who can
That's
give more knowledge, right?
no, just asking. You teach any same things or any different technologies?
So you don't teach SD-WAN?
SD-WAN I'm gonna teach from March. Okay. So from March
In
we
the
have a so we are building up the server. So once that we will bring up the SD-WAN from March.
Sagar, when you say SD-WAN, which one it would be? Silver Peak, Webtela, or Cloud?
Webtail, of course, Webtail, because all are Cisco folks. So sorry, not I'm not trying to discriminate any vendor, but always Cisco comes first, right?
By the way, guys, for Python, Sagar is the guy. I'm one of his ex-students. Fantastic
wow.
class from Sagar.
Excellent.
Fantastic class from, yeah, really fantastic class from Sagar. And God bless him on
Oh,
Python.
excellent. Thanks for that.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah. And hello. My name is John. In addition to what he just said, it's not just for Python, but for network automation and programmability. I think the go-to guy is Saga. So I happen to be an old student of his for CCMP and as well network automation. So I'd suggest you look in that direction as well.
Okay. Thank you for that information. Really appreciate it.
Yes, I agree too. I'm an old student.
I'm actually looking forward to the CCMP Enterprise class. I hear it's coming up towards the ending of this month to February. So that's my,
okay.
that's
So are
my,
you are you planning to take up the course, or are you planning to take up the exam on February?
No. I'm planning to take up the course. The full course. I'm planning to register. Follow up with the lab. I
Yes,
just
so,
want to have a full hands-on experience. Then I can consider taking the exam later. But my focus
okay.
is CCMP
Yeah.
Enterprise.
Okay. So if you don't mind, I'll just once stop this topology, because I just want to show you our CCNP topology, which is up to the mark of CCI lab. I don't say complete 100% of CCI lab, because nowadays CCI enterprise consists of SD-WAN, the wireless, SD access. Okay. Earlier, if you go with the 2019 syllabus copy, our CCNP lab touch very equivalent to the CCI labs troubleshooting part. Okay. So I just want to let you know that I'm starting network automation and CCNP enterprise from February. So if someone wants to enroll, just it's a heads up. So you can
Yes,
just take.
yes.
What's the
Yeah.
timing of those that CCNP classes here?
So it's not
Even the
gonna.
same time.
No, it is not gonna overlap with your firewall batch at all. Okay. So it will be Monday to Wednesday, whereas your firewall would be from Thursday to Sunday, right?
Sagar, automation, are you going to cover Ansible as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are covering Ansible, the 7 modules from Python like NetMiko, Nornier, Paramiko, all those things, the Python 3 theory, and Cisco DevNet 200901 associate program.
What are
So
the
for,
fees for
yeah,
those?
sorry,
What is the fees for Ansible and
we are
Python?
charging 300 US dollars for all the 4 modules.
Okay. I will drop you a message on this topic. We'll take it.
Hello,
Okay,
come again. You said for which module? Sorry, I missed that.
so there are 2 things going on now. One is CCNP Enterprise, and other one is network automation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned $300 for the 2 module. I didn't get that.
Yeah, so that $300 is for the network automation, the Python batch.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And Sagar, what's the duration of the automation?
Automation is 2 to 3 months, and CCNP is 4 months, 4 to 5 months. Depends
And
on weekend
sure.
or
And
weekdays.
one doesn't need to know about this software development or anything, do they, for
No, no,
automation?
no, no. We are starting from scratch. So we'll start with basic Python, and
Okay.
we'll start the basic scripting level.
Okay.
And
Okay.
do we come out like a proper automation engineer, or with just the definitions of stuff, or like would we be confident enough, would we be equipped in after taking the automation class to go out and implement the automation and scripts everywhere?
Yes, I just don't want to bluff you around. This is one of my ongoing batch for automation. These are the students, and they started already coding on Ansible, and they are sending me huge screenshots saying that I have coded this, I've
Wow.
stuck at this. So this is Ansible, which you can see on my screen. They are trying to automate ASA firewall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So when you say this Ansible and Python, that would be applicable for all the firewall streams, right? ASA, Checkpoint, Palo-Alto, Fortigate, or
Yes,
this specifically
yes.
only for
Ansible,
Cisco?
Ansible supports multi-vendor, so all these, even FI can be automated via Ansible, and over in Python we have NetMiko module which supports a huge number of vendors.
So this would be covering in the automation part, or you are just going to focus on a specific product?
No, I'm gonna focus on Cisco once again, but on routers, switches, and ASA firewall. I'll show you couple of examples for Juniper XRS
Mhm.
and Arista switch. Okay, so I'll give you few examples there, but most of the things, 85% would be for Cisco products only. And yeah, also 10 to 15% on
Sagar,
net.
what is the exact scope for the automation courses in enterprise network?
See, I just tell you, where we handle these projects, we get a requirement where these routers, ISR router, 4K router, which are deployed in the campus, enterprise, or let's say branch office, they are from a banking sector, and they have their own standard. And every uh, update, every iOS upgrade, they have to get these routers to be updated to the latest version as per the standard that the technical team provides them. Okay, now few years back, at least 4 5 years back, these all things used to be done manually. You have to get your change window, execute the command. There could be a chances where okay, so there could be chances of human errors, right? Of copying one image to another box or vice versa. You are not taking care of the pre commands or post command, not doing a proper pre post check. And then on one fine day or on Monday or the next day, the users come and they say something is not working, right? So here is where the use case of automation comes into picture. You can do everything automated, everything gets you a report. Even the pre-post is been popped out with some report saying something is missing, and then you will go ahead and start troubleshooting. You will raise the RMA case and all those things. Okay, so it's to reduce the human error, at the same time to expedite all these things like ACL standards, updating the SNMP servers. Let's say
Is
you
there
have
any
a
prerequisite for this automation course? Prerequisite?
No, there is no prerequisite. If you are good with just basic CCNA like VLAN, router, all those things, that is more than enough.
So Sagar, I've seen some examples of where people are just making VLANs and adding VLANs and removing VLANs. Is there? I mean, can you automate anything with the any network task with the automation? For example, if I want to, for example, the current project I'm running is I have to enable a VLAN on the trunk ports to the APs. So where I have to go and manually check every switch because we do not have a standardized number of a trunk port. So I have to go check manually all the trunk ports and then add the VLAN into the allowed VLANs. So is this something we can achieve? So the script will automatically check which
Yes.
ports are trunk ports and then add the VLANs.
Yes, so I have a very similar required script where, let's say the ask is to check the existing configuration for SNMP server is present or not, and then it's gonna prompt you if you want to update it with the new server. That is what is your requirement also here. So first, it's gonna scope, it's gonna check if that server or VLAN is present. Then it's gonna prompt you if you wanna apply the change, and then you hit yes, the things will get configured, and then you can save it, or you can give a option of rollback as well. If let's say you don't want to configure at that moment, so you can roll back and then it goes back to where it was, and then you can come out, you can create a change plan, come via the management point, all those things.
Yeah, I
Sagar,
mean that's something which is in the script, in the config script where it matches your specific, that if this is there then do this. What if, for example, in my case I am doing, for example, a VLAN, adding a VLAN. So on one switch there are port number 2, 3, 4, 6, and on the switch 2 there are port number 8, 24, 36, and 50, and for example 40. So there are two different
Yeah.
parameters over there.
So
So
in that case, you have to go with the regex queries. If you apply regex queries inside your Python script, you can do all this tasks. So I have a script where we can apply the regex and we can see if entered IP is a valid or not, or where we can go with more intelligence, where we can put this more intelligence to the script using regex queries.
okay, is that something we're going to be learning? Yeah.
Yes, that is also part of the automation task.
Sagar,
What is the NRC, Sagar, actually? NRC, which you are displaying in the screen.
Yeah,
Is it-
so now what has happened is Cisco CCNP has been revised. We don't have routing switching troubleshooting. Now we have Encore as your main paper. and then there's an option of concentration paper. So under the concentration paper, one among them is NRC, which is advanced routing switching or advanced routing, I can say in that way. So this is your main paper, and the moment you clear this, you are now CCI written. Okay, so you just have to prepare for your 8 hours of CCI lab. Once you clear this, once you have the encore from your CCNP, you are a CCI guy once you clear the lab. So this is some changes that Cisco has done. Okay.
Once I cleared 35401, I would be
Can
CCIE
you
written.
also
Yes.
can you please also tell me about
But the lab section is different, right?
if someone
One second, I am having some background noise. Yeah, so yeah, can you unmute and tell me what is your question?
Yeah, the lab section is different,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For the
This is,
CCIE.
you're talking about this one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is if you don't want to go
But
with
you
the
are saying that CCNP enterprise only. It's
no, no.
the top. Hmm.
I'll tell you like in this way. Let's
Hmm.
say you have cleared N-core. Now you
Hmm.
have two paths to choose. Okay. One is, let's say you are dreaming for CCI. So you can prepare for CCI, and this takes you to directly to the CCI path. Let's say you're not prepared for CCI, you want to be CCNP, then you have to get cleared with another paper of the CCNP. So over here you have 7 different paper: NRC, wireless, SD-WAN, automation, NOTO. There are a couple of paper here, design. So you pick one of them. So NCore plus one of the topic from here will make you CCNP certified. As well, you will be specialized now. So if you clear routing, you are a specialist. You get some a badge called as CCNE, CCNP specialist. You might have heard there is a new badge called as specialist now. Okay, so you have associate, professional, I, but now there is one more called as specialist. So specialist depend on which concentration paper you are clearing. If you are clearing a routing, then you are a specialist in that particular track. That's more focused from a consultant and specialist. Like you might have seen some companies have a consultant, right? So on which specialized he is into, whether he is from a routing switching, a SD-WAN, or a automation. So that proves his specialist badge. So if he clear one of them, he will get both CCNP, as well as he will get a specialist badge on that particular technology. Okay.
Sagar,
CCIE will be different, no, Sagar?
Sorry.
CCIE will be different course.
CCI is when you clear just one paper, okay, one
Hmm.
paper here, you are already a CCI written now. You're already a CCI written because open up the Cisco track, I mean, open up the Cisco certification now. The CCI written paper is the same CCNP Encore paper these days. CCI written and CCNP Encore is the same paper. So
Oh,
once you
okay.
once you clear the Encore, you're automatically a CCI written. You just have to decide whether you want to write that 8 hour of lab and get the CCI number,
And
or
do you have a course for 8 hour labs, Sagar?
either of.
CCI 8 hours lab for the
No, no, no.
preparation of.
Right now, no. But we are gonna get it. The reason is all labs are shut, so we just want to like take some time on that and get it. So we have a plan on getting this. Okay, the second mid of this year, we will get the enterprise CCI.
hello, Sagar. Sagar, if I'm not going for the Encore and directly going to the specialization course, will it be okay? Will it be the valid one?
Uh, it will be valid one, but thing is, uh, how they have split this is most of the topic they have put in Encore, and then the dependency files have been posted in the NRC. So you have to start with Encore, then you go to the NRC thing.
Okay, because before means this course structures change on March 19, right? 19 or
Hmm.
20. So before
Feb.
that, if I have done the CCNP routing, switching, and troubleshoot, and if I'm planning to go for specialization in the SD-WAN or something like that specialization course, then Will it be the valid one or what? Means I just
Yeah,
wanted.
so in that case, yes, you can write one of the specialization exam and you can get the specialization.
Yeah, because I heard it about like you can go for specialization. There is no that means mandatory to have the encore to go for the specialization. If you have the encore plus specialization, then you can have the CCNP plus specialization. But it is not mandatory to have the encore. So is it the correct one?
That is only for you in your case, because you said you are already done the routing switching, right? The older part.
Yeah, older. Yeah.
Yeah, but whoever is doing for first time, encore is a mandatory paper for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How can we renew our CCI lab?
CCI lab, go and write encore from any tracks, because nowadays they have introduced the encore paper in all the tracks. Enterprise has its own encore. Security has something called as core. Okay, and similar
Is
way
it
there is.
is it necessary to pass same like IMCCI voice? So do I have to do voice related paper or I can go also for Encore?
Any paper, any paper.
Any paper.
Yeah, for
Sir, is
renewal.
there anything apart from this workbook and all you already explained, right? So apart from that, nothing. So just only for exploring about the courses now, right?
Yeah,
So
there is actually nothing for going on for firewall. I just overtook from money, and things are going in different direction. So I guess we will wind up now. Okay. So I also have a demo session, might be end of this month. So please take part in that, where I'll discuss on this CCNP and automation thing. Okay. So this is a firewall batch. So let's keep it for money itself. Okay. So yeah, so guys who wants to contact me for the firewall module or any batches, so my number was given, so you just contact on that particular number. Okay, so
Okay.
we have exceeded by half an hour. Anyway, that's not an issue, but the class tomorrow would be at 8:30 p.m. IST, and the same link. Okay, same Zoom link.
Thank you very much, Sagar. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone, thanks for your time. Okay.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
thank you.